Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. We're here with another episode of Straight Out of Camera. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I am super excited to be back here with you guys again. It's so nice to connect with you and to see that you're all tuning in from all sorts of platforms. And I am sending a big shout out to everyone wherever you're watching from. May it be morning, afternoon, or maybe the evening, like here by me. It's absolutely great that you're here today because we have a fully packed end of year show with a lot of special things, lots of information to share. So we can't wait to do all of that. When I say we, it's obviously not just me, but my co-host who will be joining me just now. Before I get into that, though, just a quick introduction. My name is Nathalie, for all of you who don't know me, and I am an ex-photographer based here in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I do, make it my mission, like I always say, to make using Fujifilm cameras as easy as possible. So this show here is, right up my alley because we are looking at shooting JPEGs straight out of camera. And in order to do so, we have a little help from my co-host, the head behind Fuji X Weekly, and master chef cook genius behind all those super awesome Fujifilm film simulation recipes. And I would like to welcome and introduce Ritchie Rush, all the way from the States, from Utah, where he just sips on his second cup of coffee for the morning, I think, while we are getting ready for bed. There we go. Hello, Ritchie. It's so wonderful to have you with us.
Hello, everyone, as well. And I just want to, if you see behind me, I got the Christmas decor all set up. And I want to know, for those watching, what holiday you're celebrating. Is it Christmas? Is it a different holiday? Different cultures, different countries might celebrate other things, or maybe you have a favorite holiday. Maybe you love Christmas, but maybe you have even a different holiday that's your favorite, or maybe Christmas is your favorite. Whatever it is, let us know. We'd love to hear exactly what it is you're celebrating at this time of the year.
That is an absolutely fabulous idea, because you know what, Ritchie? I moved offices and I spent so much time in decorating the place and, getting it ready for the show. And here you are showing up with a monster big Christmas tree, and you're just like knocking it out the ballpark with your seat here today.
Well, it helps I didn't have to set up the office,
It's absolutely awesome. I love it. And I love the color coordinated shirt that you're wearing. So, well done to you. I'm sure there was a little bit of help from, all your family elves.
Yes, my wife Amanda and our kids, Joy, John, Josh, and Johanna, all worked very hard setting up that Christmas tree. And you can't really see it; it's all blurry and out of focus, behind me. But hopefully, you get a glimpse of all the hard work that they put into that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of work that went into it. So wherever you're watching from, please let us know where you're watching from. There's Robert, all the way from the Netherlands. It's awesome to have you with us, Robert.
Hello, Robert.
And let us know. Stay tuned. Everyone who's submitted images, there's all, I feel like all our friends are here this for me this evening. It's
Philip
absolutely
again from
wonderful.
Phoenix. Thanks for joining us again.
Yes, it's so good to have your support. It's wonderful that you tune in every week. We know who you are. And there's someone new from Amsterdam. It's Adam. Thank you so much for
Hello, Adam.
joining us today. Is it your first time watching, or have you tuned in before? You can let us know in the chat. We'd like to, hear all of that. And there's a fellow South African. Hello and greetings to Durban. Yushin, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. That's wonderful. It's great to connect with everyone. Who else have we got here today? There
Carol
is
from Berlin. No?
Yes. Guten Abend. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, and there is
Charles, first time from Florida. It's
Fabulous.
like really good weather in Florida right now.
Oh, yes. Well, it's really nice weather here as well. It's actually really warm.
It's snowing here.
Oh gosh. No, not the same here. And here is
we got a challenge.
Yes, he's teasing me, but I know this one. It's Mauritius. You're not catching me out, Paul. At least not Paul. Maybe everybody else. We had a cheat sheet somewhere. I completely forgot about that one. But yeah, Paul is back out of quarantine. He flew back from South Africa into Mauritius only to learn when he landed back in Mauritius that he was taken straight into quarantine. He spent a week in a hotel room, but he's now back with his family. I hope all is good. It's great to have you here this evening, Paul. And then we also have Torsten from Schillerstadt. Excellent. Fabulous. He also submitted a picture. Thank you so much for doing so. We can't wait to have a look at all of them in a little while.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite parts of the show.
Yes. Okay, Adam took up the courage to message for the first time, but he's been watching before. That's awesome. Fabulous.
This show really takes your participation, everybody's participation, to really make it great. So we're glad to see you give us a little greeting, and don't be afraid to ask a question or whatever input you want to give. We'd love to hear whatever it is that you got to say.
Yeah, we are here for you to use and abuse whichever way you want. It's wonderful to connect with everyone, and I'm really excited to be back here and to see so many familiar names. And Robert is here for the second time. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in again.
Scott from snowy Wisconsin. So we have that connection of that there's snow. So
yes,
I bet it's a little bit more white in Wisconsin right now than here.
Would it be colder in Wisconsin?
It's just barely sticking right now.
And Wisconsin would be colder?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Here is a serious globe trotter. It's Roger. He was born in Brazil, raised in Canada, living in Japan. Fantastic. That is.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to live in Japan someday. So I hope to have that opportunity, maybe at some point through my life. That's pretty amazing.
Yes. Yeah, brilliant.
Marco from Italy, but
oh wow,
he's in Oman right now. Wow.
Cool. So many people all over the place. That's fantastic. Oh, very exciting.
It's so global. This whole film simulation recipe, straight out of camera, Fujifilm stuff it's just connecting the world like absolutely nothing else.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Prasanna from India. That is amazing. It must be really late in India right now. So thank you for staying up for us. And then we have
Charles from Florida. It's 82 degrees. A little warmer than our 30-ish that it is right now.
Yeah. Fabulous. And then that is phenomenal.
Yep.
We have someone tuning in from the home of Kodak. That is wonderful.
Perfect.
Yes. So nice. And Yes, Paul
Oh,
Mauritius. Absolutely.
you got the flag. Oh,
Oh dear.
I'm sorry to
I'm
hear
so
that, Paul.
sorry.
Well, hopefully
Oh,
this helps pass the time for you.
yeah. Shame. Yes. Let's entertain you, shall we? And then even someone from Bangladesh. The
Wow.
truth. Wow, amazing. And
Peru.
Peru.
Hello, Ricardo.
That is phenomenal. Really. I'm actually quite speechless. Moscow, Italy, Moscow. I will have to see. Okay. Oh, thank you for tuning in, Enrico. Thank you also for all your submissions. Yes, you can catch us later. For everyone
Well,
who's new and not quite sure, the video will stay watchable after the show. So if you can't stick with us live throughout the whole show, don't worry about it.
and we appreciate you, giving us a little note, I guess staying up late and sending us a little message to say that you're here, but you'll watch it later. That's really great.
Yeah. Yes. And then we have someone watching from France, Medi Blues. Thank you for being with us tonight, today, tonight in France, I think, as well.
Oh,
And Prasanna is sending Ritchie a fabulous compliment. That
thank you so much.
is
It's
wonderful.
I'm on it. Honestly, I'm honored and humbled, and I'm just so happy to have had some sort of impact on your photography. So
Brilliant.
that message means a lot, and I appreciate it.
Fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Fuji colors all over the world. Exactly, Torsten. We are painting the world in Fuji colors. And Jack from
from
Oregon.
Oregon. Yeah, it might be cold and snowy there too. I'm not sure exactly where that town is, but
Yes, that sounds like a
thanks for
cold
tuning
place.
in.
Excellent. I think we should dive right into
Okay,
our show. What do you say, Ritchie?
let's do it.
Let's do it. So, everyone who's new, who's not quite familiar, we just quickly want to run down what the show is all about and what we are going to cover throughout the show. Over to you, Ritchie.
So, how this all works is we take one recipe a month. We'll choose it for you, but also feel free to experiment with whichever recipes you want. But we pick one, and for a whole month, we shoot with that recipe, and then we invite you to share your pictures with us. And we'll give the link in just a little bit for where you can do that. For this last month, it was the cross-process recipe, and we asked you to upload your images. And then we come back every second Thursday of each month, and we talk about the recipe. We show your images, and I'll send it to you, Natalie, to finish this up. If you'd like.
Thank you, Ritchie. Yes, we definitely want to look at all the images that you created over the time in between shows and share with us your experiences. We encourage you to give us comments so that we can discuss what your findings were, so that we can, share that with everyone and make it a lively, interactive discussion, because it is, also for your benefit. And to round it off, at the end of the show, we host a lucky draw. So if you have submitted an image, you stand a chance to win a subscription to Ritchie's awesome app. So, like Ritchie said, here is the upload link. It is the same for every month. So you can take a screenshot to make sure that whenever you're ready to share your images, you can just scan the code and upload your pictures right there. And you can do that throughout the entire month. I see most of you uploaded over the last couple of days. It's like, oh my goodness, the show is almost on. I need to quickly get my image in, but that's totally cool. We have all your images, and we will look at them a little bit later.
But, yeah, so we're here to help you guys. So if you have a question about film simulations, about Fuji cameras, whatever your question is, be sure to ask it in the comments now, and we'll try and get to it during the show. It might be later in the show. We got a section set aside where if we haven't answered your question, we'll try and get to it then. But please think of what you want to ask and go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll try and answer that during the show. And if we can't answer it during this show, we'll try and get to it in the next show if we can.
Yes, absolutely. So what we try to, straightforward questions, definitely answer them straight away. If something that we feel is more valuable that we can elaborate on it, then we maybe make it a section in one of the upcoming shows, like we did with this particular one. Because we received a couple of questions, what this color chrome effect is all about and how you can use it. So we thought we'll make it actually a feature in tonight's show. And I would like to hand over to Ritchie to elaborate a little bit on the background of this.
So all X-Trans 4 cameras have color chrome effect, and I think the GFX cameras may as well. And it's not on any of the older cameras, not on X-Trans 3. But where it came from was Fujifilm had a film called Fortia that they made in limited batches. And the story behind that I've always heard, I don't know if it's true or not, is that Fujifilm was making Velvia film and they messed up and they accidentally made it like way too saturated. And instead of just tossing it out, they decided to make it a limited run film to coincide with the cherry blossom festivals. And it was a huge hit. But an issue with it was that the colors were just so vibrant that they were kind of like overexposed. They lost their details. So the people at Fujifilm set out to fix that issue for future Fortia runs. And their solution was to darken the colors, darken the reds, darken the greens, so that it deepened them so that they would still retain their details. So they took that same principle for the Fortia film and applied it to their Fujifilm cameras through color chrome effect. And what it does is it darkens the colors so that they retain their details even when they're very bright and saturated. So let's go ahead and look at our sample picture here.
Can I just quickly jump in there for just 1 second? I am absolutely amazed at the fountain of knowledge that you have, Ritchie. I don't know where you find all this information and all those stories, but it's absolutely wonderful. And I love how it always puts things into context. And when you tell a story around a certain feature, it sticks in your head and it's so much better to remember. So I hope all of you can benefit from it as well.
And I hope that was a little entertaining too, it's not just something that somebody dreamed up in a lab one day. It was actually a real issue that the company had in the film era, and then that translates into something in our modern cameras.
Yes.
But color chrome effect, it deepens the colors. It affects reds and greens the most, and it affects yellows and oranges as well. It doesn't really affect blue. And we'll be able to see it here when we scroll through these pictures. You see that's with it off. And this is the Kodachrome 64 recipe, except for I changed color chrome effect to off and then weak and then strong. And you see that the reds and the greens deepen, which darkens the image a little bit. It can give it more contrast, especially if you have colors that are not darkening quite as much or not darkening at all. And if you have a color that deepens next to a color that doesn't, it'll add more contrast. In this case, it's all basically green, red, and a little bit of yellow. So the whole image actually gets a little darker with as it adds each layer of color chrome effect to it, each strength.
What I find quite amazing is that when you look at the image, it in a way it does darken the actual colors, but it gives it more. It gives it almost like a bit of a shine. I mean, it's called color chrome effect for a reason, and you can really see that it's not just a dark blotch, but it's the areas really come alive with the effect on. So I really, really like that a lot.
Yeah, it can make a big difference in a picture.
Yeah, definitely. So you can let us know if there's if you've experimented with it, if you have used it, if this is all news to you, and what do you think about color chrome effect.
And I mentioned that color chrome effect doesn't affect blue. So starting with the X Pro 3, Fujifilm added a new feature called Color Chrome Effect Blue, which is very similar to Color Chrome Effect, but instead of affecting greens and reds, it only affects blue. But it pretty much does the same thing. It deepens and darkens the blues within an image. Again, we have examples of it off, weak, and strong. Again, this is the Kodachrome 64 film simulation recipe. So,
and you would traditionally, or you would use it mostly in landscapes to really bring out some kind of detail in a very blue sky, I guess.
yeah, it'll make well, in film, the way that it renders different colors, each film is a little bit different. So as we're trying to, copy the aesthetic of a certain film, we can look at the blues and see how deep are they. And this is a tool to get us a little bit closer to that aesthetic.
Yes, and we are very lucky because you do most of the work for us, Ritchie. When you create a recipe, you already have figured out how much of what exactly the look requires, and we can just copy paste those settings into our camera, and off we go.
And then another thing I want to point out is that some cameras don't have the color chrome effect or the color chrome effect blue options. And if you notice, there is a difference when you're using weak, but it's not a huge difference. So if the recipe calls for color chrome effect or color chrome effect blue weak and your camera doesn't have that feature, you can still use the recipe and it'll look very similar. It won't look 100% the same, but it'll look very similar. Now, strong, on the other hand, is a pretty noticeable difference. So it's harder to use that recipe and expect to get similar results if your camera doesn't have those features.
Yes. Guys, what do you think about color chrome effect? Are there any questions that we can maybe assist you answering? Or is there anything that, also other questions that you may have? So if anything that comes to mind, fire away. We are right here for you before we hop on into the next section. Right now is a really good idea. And let's see who's here. Who's got a question? Lomé is asking, in your opinion, what's the best
Film simulation?
Thank you. Film simulation or recipe to get those dark shadows, desaturated colors, and strong blues like the movies?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think something that's important to note is in the movies, they're very careful with how they're setting up the light. They're very particular. It's a big setup. So to really copy what they're doing in the movie, you kind of have to do the same thing with your still photography and really control the light for it. And when you do that, you're able to get a kind of a similar look. Obviously, if you're looking for something with dark shadows and desaturated colors, Eterna Bleach Bypass is a good place to start. And then if you use Color Chrome Effect Blue Strong, it'll get you those deeper blues. And that might be a good starting point. And that film simulation is based off of cinema film that's had the bleach step bypass. They didn't use the bleach, so it retained the silver. It's a common technique in cinema. Saving Private Ryan is a good example of a movie where they did that. And there's lots of movies where they've used that technique. So that's where I would start, is with Eterna Bleach Bypass. If you don't have that film simulation on your camera, maybe Classic Chrome, bring in the saturation all the way down, something like that could work.
That sounds really interesting. And I think what's also really good of you to mention is that, the recipe itself, I mean, they're great, but you also need to make sure that you add or find the scenes to really make those recipes shine. So light is definitely very important, because depending on
Yes.
what kind of an exposure you have, like you indicate in your recipes, to maybe sometimes really overexpose your image to get the best result from the recipe. So that's really important. Robert clearly shoots with an XT20, and
Which is a good
yeah, he
camera,
says he
by the way.
doesn't. It is a very
Yeah, it
good
doesn't
camera.
have yeah, it doesn't have color chrome effect because it's X Trans 3. So for those recipes that call for color chrome effect, if it says it's weak, you can still use those recipes on your XT20, but it'll just look slightly different. If the recipe calls for color chrome effect strong and you try and use that on your XT20, it'll look fairly significantly different. And you can still try it. There's no harm in trying it and see what happens, but it will look a little different.
Yes, I love that. You also can experiment and then share with us the results that you're getting. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's not, we're not the police. We don't, force you to
Mm-mm.
use everything. It's just a starting point to for you to get creative. And
Yes.
I quickly have to give a shout out to Hein. He is one of my, can I call him a colleague? He works for Fujifilm in South Africa, and he
Oh
is
wow.
clearly in Port Elizabeth at the moment. Thank you so much for tuning in, Hein. It's awesome to have you with
Thanks
us.
for joining us.
Is it a good simulation for studio? I'm not sure which simulation you are referring to at the moment. Maybe the one that you were just talking about,
The
Richie?
Eterna bleach bypass, maybe. If you're controlling the light real well, it can be. I would think that it might be too contrasty for studio work, but it a lot depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to achieve a strong contrasty look, then sure. I think Fujifilm's intention was that pro negative standard would be like your studio
Mm.
film simulation.
Yes.
I
But you
mean,
know
but
what,
that
Hein?
doesn't mean that you have to.
Yes. Why don't you try it out and you share the results with us, and then we'll see.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
Oh,
And
Randy, he's back with us from Los Angeles. Thanks for
yes,
joining.
that's fantastic. I think he's also a bit warmer than you, Richie. Hey?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He can go to the beach today. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. Hello there, Steve. Thank you for tuning in. It's good to have you here. Phenomenal. Another question. Do you have a favorite recipe for wildlife photography? I always find Portrait Kodak Gold works great, but I'm curious to try something else. Interesting you're
um,
talking about Kodak Gold.
oh yeah. Kodak Gold works great. I like Velvia V2. As that's I don't do a lot of wildlife photography. I wish I did more because where I live is a really good spot for like bird photography, and so I've done a little bit. But yeah, I would say when I do it, that's the recipe I typically go with is Velvia V2. But Kodak Gold, yeah, that would work great.
Fabulous. So you are in the right place already, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Martino, who's greeting us from Mexico City. And then he's asking you, Richie, what would be a good idea to replace clarity in order to avoid the lag in camera? Something like combining sharpening and noise reduction.
So this is a great question. So the clarity feature, I love clarity on the Fujifilm cameras. I love that Fujifilm put that in there. It's such a great tool. But it puts a lag in the camera. It takes a moment for it to save the file, and you can't do anything with the camera until it processes it. And what's interesting is that the GFX 50S, I don't know if any of the other GFX cameras have this same issue. I assume the GFX 50R probably does too, but I don't know for sure. But there's a lag because the files are so big, when you take a picture, there's a similar lag to using clarity on those cameras, except for those cameras don't have clarity. It's just because the files are so big. So I think it's using a lot of processing power in order to do it, to do clarity. What I've personally found is that if the recipe calls for a negative clarity value, such as -2, -3, if you use a diffusion filter like a Cinebloom or a Black Pearl Mist or something like that, you get a similar effect. It's pretty similar. And so maybe like 5 or 10% Cinebloom or 1/8, 1/4 Black Pearl Mist, something like that will produce a similar result, and you can set clarity at 0 and avoid the lag. If it calls for a positive clarity, I haven't really found anything that can mimic that yet. I guess I could still keep trying and come up with something good. Sharpening, there is some overlay with clarity and sharpening, but they're really different, and you can't really replace, because sharpening doesn't add like contrast, mid-tone contrast and stuff. So there's not really anything within sharpening to really replace it.
So there's nothing like the real deal. We have, the previous comment from Roger, we'll get back to him. And then Randy says he loves the color chrome effect. It's awesome on Kodachrome recipes, even the ones that didn't have it baked into the original recipes.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Like, because Kodachrome, the reds are deeper, and you really couldn't fully mimic that until color chrome effect came out.
Yes. And you have enlightened someone. Steve says he never understood it before, so that's fabulous. I'm so glad that you were able to join us here to, just to learn a little bit more about all the Fujifilm has to offer. Torsten says, for street and downtown, the color chrome effect blue is to be neglected.
Yeah, so I could see, like, for example, shadows are blue, and rendered blue in a camera. So it's going to deepen that blue in the shadows. And also a lot of times, you have buildings that are reflected. And I guess depending on, how you might want those to look, you may or may not want color chrome effect blue.
Yes. I wanted to say something else, but let's look at Randy's comment first. He says, do you think color chrome blue would ever show up on an XT3 update?
I hope so. I really do. I think it should have happened already, but it's all up to Fujifilm to do it. So I don't know if they will or won't.
Hein, are you listening? Can you please send a message to Japan that we want an update on the XT3? Thank you. And we also have someone watching from Indonesia. Hello there. I am sure it's very late by you. Thank you for staying up. And then cheers from Germany, says Lars. Lars from Mars. I like your handle. It's very nice. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. It's absolutely wonderful. T says, Ritchie, yesterday I was in the metro and decided to set the X100V on Superior 1600. This one is awesome. Works well indoor and outdoor, with winter even more. Well done.
Well, thank you. And that's really an underappreciated and underutilized recipe. Thomas Schwab, who's helped with a lot of recipes and stuff, and is a friend of mine in the blog and everything. He shared with me recently some pictures that he took of his vacation pictures that were absolutely wonderful, where he used that recipe, and they turned out great. And so if you're looking for a fun recipe to try that produces really good results, go ahead and try that Superior 1600 film simulation recipe.
Yeah, there are so many recipes, so we won't run out of options to choose and experiment with. That's for sure. But we have a few more news. So we just quickly want to update you so that you're always in the know of what's going on. And first up, we have something new happening on the Fuji X Weekly blog. Ritchie clearly has too much time on his hands because he introduced and published a mini magazine, which he calls the FXW Zine, which is, as far as I understand, available to all subscribers to the creative collab that you've started on your blog.
Yeah, so it's something I've kind of wanted to do for a while. I love the idea of the zine, and there's a photographer, Kyle McDougall, who's made some really cool zines, and just it's, if you're a photographer, you always want to kind of publish your work and see it in print. And I would love to actually make a physical zine. This is a e-zine. So it's electronic. You can print it if you would like. It's 12 pages long. I plan to do it once a month, and the length might vary. I'd actually like it to become longer than 12 pages, but it all kind of depends on what kind of content I can create. If you're a member of the Creative Collective, it's there for you to download. If you're not sure what the Creative Collective is, visit my website, fujixweekly.com. Click on the top left hamburger menu, as we discovered it's called, and look for the Creative Collective corner, and all the information will be there. You can see all the Creative Collective articles, and you'll see where to download the zine at. And I hope those who are part of the Creative Collective, who had a chance to read it, really appreciated it, and there'll be more of these coming in the future.
I absolutely loved it. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I really enjoyed reading it. And in one of our earlier chats, I said to Ritchie that, I'm, surely quickly becoming a speed reader, because there is so much information in preparation for all the shows. And when I saw that Ritchie's now publishing even a magazine, I'm like, okay, dude, slow down. I can't keep up anymore. And the fact that it's got a couple of pages with a few articles, and they are really interesting, but, short and sharp and sweet, with wonderful images to go with. It's so satisfying to get, to the end of the magazine. So I think it's a wonderful idea, and I can only recommend it.
So
there's
the next big news is the app update.
Yes.
It was a lot of work. It took a long time to get out, but we finally got the big update on the Fuji X Weekly film simulation recipes app out, and it includes some great new features that'll hopefully be helpful to many of you. And so let's take a look at that. One is you can now favorite recipes with different colored stars, which is a great way to organize your recipes. There's updated filtering options. You can filter by white balance and dynamic range now. And you can add custom recipes via blank recipe card. And so let's take a look at these. Let's dive a little deeper into this.
Yes, because there's quite a lot of features that have been added to the app, and I think it's absolutely wonderful that you pushed through to give us a Christmas present and sent this update through before the holidays, so that we can really, take the time that hopefully everyone has a little bit more free time available, and just familiarize yourself and play around with it, and
Yeah, and I see you've already got found a use for those different colored stars. You're able to organize the recipes into different categories by choosing a different color for each one.
Yes, I did my homework. I tried to, in preparation for this, I'm like, I can't have no color stars in my app. And for everyone who's watching, the middle screen that you're looking at is is actually my phone at the moment. And I obviously prepared this for the show so that it makes sense and that I can just show you. If you use it for yourself, you would obviously, organize this differently. But I have, the special recipes for special occasions that we're looking at later at the top, and the recipes that we're discussing in the show are red. Then recipes that I've used before are green, others that I still want to use are blue, and so on and so forth. So this is obviously totally up to you the way you want to organize it, but that's kind of like what I thought makes sense if I want to show you guys what this looks like. So I'm just scrolling down here. There's loads and loads of stars, and then eventually I thought, okay, I think I'm bringing the point across. It's really, quite valuable how you can organize the different recipes for yourself.
So let's pick one, just any one that you want.
Anyone that I want. Can we go with cross processing?
Sure, let's put that one up.
Okay.
So one of the new things that you can do on the app is you can click on a picture and it'll be a little bit larger. So if you want to tap a picture, and now it's larger, and you can actually scroll through them and see them just a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we wanted it to be even bigger, but we're very limited by the size of the device itself. So,
Yes.
but you can examine the pictures just a little bit closer now than you could before. And if you tap it again, it'll shrink back down to regular size.
Okay, let me tap on the picture.
And then if you are a Fuji X Weekly app patron, it unlocks the favoriting features, and then you'll be able to use the colored stars. So while we're here, why don't you tap on the star, and it'll bring up a little menu, and you can choose one of those 5 colors, whichever you'd like, or you can, if you've already put one on there and you want to take it off of your favorites, you can then click remove from favorites, and it'll take it off. So you can organize it however you want that way, or undo it if you want. And so those are a couple of the updates. So if you want to go back to the main page,
okay,
we'll talk about another thing that's been updated is if you click on the circle with the 3 stars in the upper right, or the circle with the 3 circles, 3 little circles, 3 dots.
There we go.
So now, before you could just sort it by name A to Z or date newest to oldest, but what's been added to that is name Z to A or date oldest to newest. So if you know that the recipe starts with a letter that's further down in the alphabet, you can find it more quickly by doing Z to A. Or if you know that a recipe has been around for a long time, you can do oldest to newest, and it'll maybe help you find it more easily that way. So there's a couple new tools, and those are available for everybody. The other thing on here is the new recipe. That's the blank recipe card. We'll just quickly demonstrate. If you click on that, it brings it up, and then if you select one of those that you just created, you can name the recipe. You can add your own pictures to the recipe from your camera roll, and you can fill in any of those fields that you'd like. There was the initial plan for the blank recipe cards was much more robust than what came out in the update. It was just so much code and so much complexity to it that we weren't able to get it all together in time for the update. But we're still working on improving this feature and making it better, allow you to export it, put it on. If you have multiple devices, you'll be able to put it on multiple devices. If you want to share it with a friend, you can do that. Or if a friend shares one with you, you'll be able to put it onto your device, and other things. There was a lot of things that we were hoping to add to this feature that we just couldn't get done in time. So hopefully this is okay for now, and just know that it's going to get better.
Yes,
but
I think it's phenomenal, and it's great to know that there's things that we can look forward to add in future.
Yeah, and so if you made your own recipe, or if you found one online somewhere, such as the Fuji X Weekly community's recipe page, or anywhere else on the web, and you want to add it, you can to your phone. You can now do that. And so, and those can also be removed if you made one and then you're like, oh, I don't like this, and you can also delete them. That's an option as well.
Yes.
So then, oh, do you hear that? It had like a weird echo.
Yes. Sorry, the connection just dropped, but I think we're back.
Okay, so if you get out of this and go back to the main page and go to filter, so this is the next big thing that we added. Is on the very bottom there you have filter by white balance or filter by dynamic range, and these are probably the biggest new features that'll be helpful to people. And if you go to filter by white balance, how this is helpful is not only if you find yourself in a situation, if it's a daylight situation, you can pick a recipe that uses daylight. If it's a artificial light situation, you can find a recipe easily that maybe uses fluorescent or Kelvin or something like that. But where it's most helpful is that if your camera is older than the X Pro 3, it doesn't save the white balance shift in the custom menu with film simulation recipes. But the camera will remember one white balance shift per white balance type. So if each of your C1 through C7 presets uses a different white balance type, then the camera will remember the white balance shift for each of those recipes, and you won't have to change it. So you can use this to find 7 different white balance types, recipes that use 7 different white balance types. Or if they use the same white balance type and the same white balance shift, you can have 2 recipes that way, and you won't have to worry about changing the white balance shift every time you change custom presets.
Yeah, that's definitely very helpful.
So then if you go to dynamic range, where I found this useful, I wasn't sure how this was good. People asked for it. I wasn't sure how this was going to be useful. But then what happened is I took a picture and I wanted to, with a certain film simulation recipe. And then I thought, I didn't really want to use that film simulation recipe for that picture. How can I reprocess this? And of course, you're limited to whatever dynamic range you captured the photo in. So in this case, I used the recipe that I had captured with used DR100. So I was limited to recipes that call for DR100. So I was able to find that very easily. And I was like, okay, well, these are my options to reprocess it. So that may be a good way to use that new filter. Or if you're in going to be in a strong light, very contrasty situation, and you're looking for recipes that just will deal with that the best, maybe filtering by DR400 or D range priority or something like that could be helpful.
Yes, lots of things to keep us.
So I'm hearing an echo, and I'm not sure if anybody else out there is hearing that as well. But I apologize if all you guys out there are hearing an echo. But I'm hearing it through my end.
Yes, I think we've just lost some kind of a connection somewhere. The guys in the back are trying very hard to get that sorted out. I can hear myself as an echo, like I'm standing in a cave, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm sure we will have that sorted in no time. So maybe if you want to carry on, Ritchie, just for a moment, so that I don't have to, sound so very echoey.
Oh, I may have just now got fixed. Okay, but now I'm echoey. So I apologize for the echo, and hopefully it's not too bad on your end. We can move on to the next segment. I think we covered the app update. I hope you all are enjoying the new features, and hopefully find it to be useful to you in your photography.
Not quite sure. Yes, we're still echo. So let's move on with the new section. Can I just get from the team in the back just a little bit of an update as to where we're at with the audio?
I feel like we need to be floating in space or something with this echo. Like we should be in spacesuits. Should be nothing but stars and planets behind us and just floating around. Do you think about adding the Creative Collective Corner to the app to share pictures related to a specific film sim, or even propose new film sims and find cool artists? I think that's a great idea. I actually want to do more in the coming year to really connect the Fujifilm community to where we can share photos and see what each other is doing, and find where other people to follow on social media and that kind of stuff. And I haven't fully figured out how to implement that, but it's definitely very high on my to-do list. Is to really be able to connect us all better in that way. So we'll do. There'll definitely be something coming. I'm just not 100% sure what it'll be yet, and I definitely appreciate the suggestion.
That is awesome.
We can probably move on to the next. I think there's more news items. We can move on to whatever's next, unless we're stuck in this. Oh, here we go. So a big piece of news is that we have a new website for this show. It's www.sooc.live, and it's still a work in progress. It's under construction still, but you can go there and there's great things. You can watch the older episodes and you can connect with us. Eventually there'll be more on here. So check it out when you have a chance, www.sooc.live. And also check back later as we update it more and put more on there. It'll be a great landing page for this show. A great place to find news about it, what's happening, what's going on, what the next episode, where you can upload your images, how to connect with us, and that kind of stuff. And then, these shows are long, so if you don't have the opportunity to watch it live, that'll be a great place to find the older episodes.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Well, you're still got lots of echoes. Did you want me to? I can talk about this. I still might be a little echoey too. But this is the next news item. It's on Nathalie's website. So if you guys haven't been there, be sure to go to her website. A great website, great pictures, really good stories. And she's introducing a new segment called Mindful Mondays. And it's not so much directly photography related, but it has to do with like your personal growth and that kind of stuff. So in an indirect way, it does relate to your photography, but it's a great thing to read. Be sure to go there and check it out. If you haven't been to her blog, make sure you put that high in your priority to go to her website. And was there something you wanted to add to that, Nathalie?
Okay. But the echo is still there. I'm very sorry. You're doing a great job. But it can carry on.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just keep rolling. Make sure you go to our website. Make sure you find the Mindful Mondays and read it and take a look at it. It's worth your time for sure.
But let's advance the slide so that we can move on in the show.
Oh, the last piece of news is that Natalie actually did get her Instax Mini Evo. It's sitting right there in front of her on her table, and she got it, I believe, earlier today or maybe yesterday, and she's taken a few pictures with it, and I think we had planned that she was actually going to take a picture with it on the show live. We've talked about it in the past, so we weren't going to rehash everything that we talked about it, but just let's see if Natalie can take a picture. Oh, she's going to use her X Pro. She's got an X Pro 3 there. And let's see. She's setting it up. Oh, I think she took the picture. And I think at some point it's going to print out an Instax image. So this is a digital Instax hybrid. And so you can actually use it as a picture from your phone as well. Oh, there it comes. Yay. So that was, thanks for the demonstration, Natalie. And let's move on to a segment we're calling Special Occasions. And it's basically we're looking at a situation you might be in and what recipes might be good for that. Of course, one recipe might do well in many situations. Some recipes will do better than others. And we're not telling you that you have to use these recipes, but just suggesting if you find yourself in these situations, maybe this is one to consider. So what we're looking at today is a situation where you're doing portraits. So these are recipe for portrait photography. And in each of these special occasions, we're going to look at 3 film simulation recipes. And if you find yourself in the situations where you might want to find a recipe that will work good, these are the ones we're suggesting you try. And you can also share with us the pictures. If you do use these recipes in these situations, share with us your pictures that you captured. The first one is outdoor sunny. If the sun is shining, you're outside and you're doing portrait photography, this is a recipe that I definitely recommend. It's a Kodak Portra 400 V2. Kodak Portra 400 V2. There are several people who are professional photographers who do portrait photography for a living that use these recipes, that use the Kodak Portra 400 V2 recipe for that. It works great when the sun is shining and you're wanting a really warm picture. If you're using vintage lenses, it's really good for that as well. And so we have it up here on Natalie's phone, and you can see the recipe. I wanted to, if you don't mind, scrolling down just a little bit so you can see where you click to go to the website, all the way to the bottom, and tap on that open website.
Okay. And then when you click on it, you get through to the website, hopefully without an echo.
Yeah, I don't hear an echo right now, so I think maybe that's fixed.
Okay.
I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping we have the.
Can I get a just feedback from the people in the audience to see if they also don't hear an echo? Please say yes. That would be phenomenal. But in the meantime, this is the article on Ritchie's blog that relates to this simulation. So there is awesome information, write-up about some background information. You vary what you're writing about in the recipe, but there's always some introduction, and then you have sample images and also the actual recipe and the settings that you need to put in your camera.
I very specifically want to keep scrolling and to find a certain picture that's in the article here. Keep going, and I'll tell you where it is. It should be coming. It's right there. So if you stop there, there's a photographer in those pictures. His name is Julian Jari, and he's a great cinematographer. Look him up on YouTube. He's also, look him up on Instagram as well. And this recipe was created with his help. He actually shot some Kodak Portra 400 film and then used an X100V camera to make a comparison side by side to help create a recipe that was accurate to his film. Of course, film can look different depending on how it's shot, developed, and scanned and that kind of stuff. So that's why there can be several recipes with the same name. There's a different Kodak Portra 400 recipe that was also created by comparing film side by side with a different photographer. But this recipe is intended to look like his Kodak Portra 400 pictures.
And they look absolutely stunning. I think I want to just, celebrate the fact that I'm back out of isolation and that I can now speak again. I'm not sure if it was that the team wanted to get me quiet and give you more opportunity to speak, Ritchie, but I think I'm back now, and I prefer that much more. I'm sorry about the silent demonstration of this very cool new camera, but anyway, I'm sure I will write about it some more in the next couple of days. Anyway, let's get back to the recipes, Ritchie.
Okay, so that was if you find yourself in a sunny outdoor setting and you're wanting a warm portrait recipe, definitely try Kodak Portra 400 V2. And so now let's move on to the next one. The next recipe was created specifically because I was going to be taking pictures of people. And it's good for sunshine, but I found it also very good for in a situation where you're outside and in the shade, or maybe it's overcast or something like that, not bright sunlight. I think Kodak Portra 400 V2 doesn't do as well in these kind of situations. But this recipe does very well when the sun's not shining bright, when it's in the shade and that kind of stuff. You can get a very natural look. It's colorful, but not too colorful. And this is a recipe that I personally use in those situations.
Yes, it looks absolutely phenomenal. And what
it's just simply called Pro Neg High is the name of the recipe.
Yes, and if you have the app open, you can use the opportunity to write yourself a little note in there so that you can, have crib notes of all the wisdom that Ritchie shares with us, so that we know when we are looking for this recipe, all the things, all the situations, and everywhere where this recipe is particularly useful.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I've done for myself as well.
Yeah, the notes section is really a great place to put different things that you want to say about a recipe, when to use it, even keep track of what pictures you took while you had while you're using the recipe and that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys are using that notes feature and find it useful. The third situation here for portraits, we'll get to that, is indoor, and I kind of mean indoor under artificial lights. When the lighting conditions are not real ideal and it wouldn't normally be a good time. You can use this recipe in many, situations, but I think where it just really shines is in indoor, maybe mixed light or just kind of weird artificial light. It's the best recipe for that for sure. And it's called Fujicolor Superior HG V2. So Fujicolor Super HG V2. That's the name of the recipe.
Yes, I absolutely love this photograph here, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that you like if I had used, for example, the Kodak Portra 400 V2 for that picture, it would be extremely yellow. But this recipe cuts through the crazy light and produces a very nice image.
That's awesome. Thank you. That is fabulous. So we invite you to try out these recipes to see how you like them, what kind of results you get. And even though we have this recipe for the month that we are asking you to submit the images for, but you do not need to hold back in trying to share the results that you're getting with other recipes that we are talking about, as long as you just make sure that either you name the files that you upload, or how other people have started doing, they actually upload a document together with the images to communicate with us what they have uploaded. So just as your reference, make sure to screenshot this so that you have like a bit of a a card to next time you want to shoot portraits, you have available all these different beautiful recipes.
Or use the stars in the app.
Yes.
Maybe make you got them yellow, maybe make them purple or whatever color you like.
Exactly, any color you wish. Yes, and I think it's a good time to move on and to actually look at the recipe of the month. We've had a couple of weeks. We've had about 3 weeks to try out this funky new recipe that gives you really different kind of results. We have, done the same and had a look at have tried out this recipe and have some sample images. But before we get into the samples, we have a really cool introduction video by Dave Mihaly, who was very kind to let us share this with you. He's on YouTube under the name of The Old Camera Guy. And we are going to quickly see what he has to say about cross-processing in the traditional sense. So we'll be right back after this.
Today we've got to look at cross-processing Fuji Sensia slide film. Today we're cross-processing some Fuji Sensia 200 slide film that expired in September of 2008. So cross-processing, which is also known as X Pro, is really just processing your film in chemicals that are different than the standard ones you would typically use. Now, technically, when I developed my Cinesto motion picture film with C41 chemicals rather than the standard ECN2, that could be considered cross-processing. One of the most common forms of cross-processing is when you take slide or positive film and develop it with C41 chemicals rather than the standard or typical E6. And that's what we're going to do here today. Now, some people like to cross-process just for the aesthetics. They like the look of it, the different contrast, the interesting color shifts that you get. My reasons were a little bit more practical. Number one, I just don't shoot enough slide film to warrant getting my own E6 processing kit for home use. Number two, processing with E6 can be pretty expensive, so cost was a little bit of an issue. Number three, it can take a while to get your slides back from the lab. It can take a week or more before you get your film back. So for all those reasons, I decided to go ahead and cross-process my Fuji Sensia film with an old Cinesto C41 kit. Now, the cameras I used were my Canon EOS 300, my Canon Rebel T2, and my Holga 135BC. You may recognize some of the images at the end of this montage from my Holga Week 2019 video from last fall. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, do some good, have some fun, and shoot some film.
Yay!
Thank you so
Definitely
much,
check
Dave.
out Dave's other videos. Yeah, watch this whole. You can watch the full length of this one on his channel. Look up the old camera guy on YouTube and have some fun.
Yes, absolutely. Dave says that he does mostly shoot film. However, he is very open to shooting digital, and he quite likes the straight out of camera concept. So I hope that maybe I've intrigued him a little bit, and we can get him on our side to also try out the odd recipe here or there. But
Mhm.
yeah, thank you so much that we could show you guys this video just to, give you a little bit of background into where all of this comes from to begin with.
Oh,
Richie,
and
before we jump
yeah.
into the recipe, I just wanted to let all the viewers know that we've opened a poll on on the different platforms where everyone's watching. So there should be a little bit of a pop-up window that comes up where we would quite like to know what kind of sensor you are shooting with, whether it's X-Trans 4, 3, 2, or 1. So you can please participate, and we will share the results with you a little bit later. It's in concert with the survey that Richie did on his blog not too long ago. It's really to give a bit of background information, what everyone is working with, so that the recipes that we choose, that we share, and that we ask everyone to participate in really go in line with the kind of cameras that you work with. So take a moment and answer the poll, and we will share the results a little bit later. But for
Yes,
now,
and
into cross processing, shall we?
yeah, that video was so great to give you an idea of exactly what cross processing is, and the recipe that I created, this cross process, is more of a generic cross process look and not modeled after a specific film. I think sometimes it does look like Sensia that's been cross processed. Sometimes it doesn't. I think sometimes it looks a little bit like Provia 100F or 400 or Velvia 50, or even sometimes like an Ektachrome kind of film. But depending on how you shoot it, if you underexpose or overexpose, or how much you overexpose, or exactly what the lighting conditions, it can really vary the exact look of it. But I think it does have a very strong cross-process feel, even if it doesn't mimic a specific film being cross-processed.
Yes, definitely. So I've had a lot of fun with it, but you obviously have been shooting for quite some time with this recipe. And what we're looking at here is one of your images, Richie, that you sent through as a sample. And it's, beautiful roses. I absolutely love the tone of those roses, and it makes them. It puts me into a 1970s movie a little bit,
Yeah.
where the quality of the colors and just the look really puts me right in there. And someone is about to pick this rose and you know hop on their bicycle to ride over to hand it over to someone they really love or something like that. So there's me and my crazy ideas, but I think we can move on to the next picture.
Yeah, and this one's interesting. Anytime I see like a window that's covered with some water or raindrops or whatever, I always think that there's a photographic opportunity there. And obviously, it caught your attention in this case, and uh, the it's very abstract in that you can obviously tell that there's something in the background there, on the other side of the window, but you can't see exactly what it is. So I love that, being less literal and being a little more abstract. But the colors are what's really interesting, in the how the recipe shifts to more of a yellow. Sometimes it's more green. Um, it's what it kind of looks a little maybe less digital in that sense.
Yes, absolutely. I had a lot of fun playing around in different scenarios and really trying to push myself to see some more abstract scenes rather
Hmm.
than the previous month, or even with what's coming up with recipes that give you more like a real representation of the scene that you're in. So, if you want to let us know what you think of the images that you've seen so far, you're more than welcome to comment. We would love to share your thoughts as well. While we are looking, Randy says it's beautiful. Love the C41 cross process pics, which I think are the ones from the video that we were watching. They just reminded me also of a lot of the look and feel of the images that I got from the recipe while shooting with it. And what we're looking at here is one of Ritchie's recipes, and I absolutely love it because I love opposing or complementary colors in an image. So those blue dustbins just jump out at you.
Hmm.
And this is got the saying in the top window that is also really sweet. So I love this image. We looked at it last month, but I like it so much. We had to bring it back.
And then the little plants. I'm not sure what kind of plants exactly those are, but I've seen them around. They're very decorative, but seeing them in the window light with the color shift is really what makes this picture uh, really interesting. It's still life, but it's also, because of the color shift, it's a bit vintage looking. It's a bit abstract looking, and so even though it's not an abstract picture, if you were just to take your phone or your camera with just the default settings and take this picture, it would look so much different. But it
Mm,
really comes to life, I think, by using the cross-process recipe.
yeah. Yes, just having a little bit of fun in my new office.
Oh, so
um,
that is the new office.
yes, it is. Well, it is the window, one of the windows
Yeah,
of the new office. I'm very lucky. I've got a few windows here.
that's
And
great.
yes, and looking at this image, it is Richie. Is it a train station or a shopping?
No, it is a mall. It is a
It
mall. It
is a
does kind
mall.
of have a train station look to it, almost like a Grand
Yes,
Central Station kind of look to the
yeah,
architecture. But
yes, it
it's
does.
a mall.
But it's definitely an image that you took recently because it's
Hmm.
got Christmas decoration in it. So
Oh yeah. I don't always get to share the images, but whenever we do these episodes and we have a recipe of the month, and we ask you to shoot, the audience to shoot with a certain recipe, I'm doing it too. Um, so so I enjoyed using the cross process recipe a lot this month.
yes, yeah. So we go in the flow with you so that we can all share together,
Hmm.
which
We're
is
all
the whole
journeying together
point.
in this.
Yes, exactly.
And even some simple silverware. These don't look like these look kind of maybe antique or older spoon and fork, but it makes for an interesting picture nonetheless. Actually, because they're older, probably is actually what makes the picture interesting. But yeah, I like it. Just very simple. Just spoon and a fork on a
Yes.
table.
What else do you
Yeah.
need but a spoon and a
Yeah,
fork?
nothing. Yeah, just it's your own creativity. What you do with it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, this is just to get us started and into the swing of things,
Mhm.
and just to share with you that we share in this process with you. But what we are actually here is to have a look at all the amazing photographs that you shared with us over these last couple of weeks. And they are absolutely phenomenal. So I want to give a big shout out to everyone who's uploaded. I love, love, love every single submission. And
Yeah,
let's jump right ahead with this amazing, colorful one.
Yeah, Andreas Angel sent this one, and it's just absolutely incredible. I would want this to be a print in my house. Like I would love for this to be on my wall, or if it was the cover of a photo book, some sort of like you would find in the bookstore or something like that. So definitely well done, and it really demonstrates how this recipe can make an image look really interesting, in certain light situations or with the right subjects and that kind of stuff. Just absolutely love it. Oh, and it's a good point. Thanks, Kathy, for commenting. And I want to invite all of you out there to comment on the pictures. If it's your picture, you can give us a little background on it. If you like the picture or you have a comment you want to say about the picture, definitely do that. Put that in the comments, what you think about the picture and all that kind of stuff. And then Kathy, who I just commented, sent us this picture. And it's a simple Santa decoration, obviously Christmas time. But what caught my attention was that Santa's going from right to left, and in the background, there's an airplane going from left to right. You can see the contrail. So that was a good use of that element in the picture, whether intentional or not intentional. I don't know. I found it interesting.
Yes, really well picked up on this detail. I missed it in the beginning, but yeah, you're absolutely right. So well done to you, Kathy, and thank you also for constantly submitting, regularly submitting your images. It's absolutely wonderful to always get a glimpse into the life that everyone's living in between the episodes. And then we've got a new submission by David. He sent us this photograph. I think it's probably of an umbrella that is not fully opened, or a canvas, or a canopy, something of that sort, with a nice lace. And I love the mood and obviously the colors. Who knows what the umbrella really looks like, but the detail in it, and just a creative abstract snapshot of this is really cool. So extremely well done on this. Thank you. And then we have the next submission, which is, on the other side, very ordinary, very industrial, yet so extremely well captured by Emily. These pipes and whatever it is that these pipes are actually doing, but it's I absolutely love it. I think it's well seen and captured, and the recipe really makes this look extremely interesting. So thank you, Emily, also for your submission.
And then here's another kind of industrial one, but in a much different way, from Enrico. Is a power plant of some sort, maybe even a nuclear power plant, but it's very...
Oopsie daisy. Yeah, so we've lost Ritchie here for a moment, but I'm sure he will be back in no time. And yeah, he was just saying that this is a power station. Hello, Ritchie, you're back.
Hey, I guess the internet, with the storm, maybe the internet went out for a brief moment here. But yeah, it's kind of like it almost has like a cold, almost end of the world, like The Walking Dead kind of feel to it, or something like that. But yeah, it's very good.
Yes, it is totally. I also really enjoyed that one.
And then Juan Gonzalez. What's interesting is this a night picture, and I've never actually used the cross-process recipe at night, so I wasn't sure exactly how it looked, but it looks really good. This is really cool. I like it.
Yeah, I also really love the scene and all the lights and reflections. So well done on that. We have a couple more submissions. There is one from Mario. He is last month's winner of the subscription. I hope that you enjoy the app a lot. He also sent me a message earlier on saying that he really struggled to find a scene where he could use the recipe. And I just said to him, I'm glad that we gave him a workout, and that is exactly what we, are trying to do, just to put you in a different scene, just to make you think, and give you, reason to just go out there and think maybe a little bit different, and actively look for different things to photograph. So I'm glad that you found a really nice scene. So thank you very much for sharing that. I do love it a lot as well. Just as I do the next image, which is from Martino. The scene is really cool, and the sentiment of this gentleman sitting on the top balcony there, I really like it, and it's phenomenal in cross process. It looks really good.
Yeah, and the little surprise in this one is actually the curtains in the bottom right window. I think like that's like you go around the picture and you see these different things, and that's kind of like the little surprise at the end as you see those red curtains. I think they're red.
Again, well spotted. It's all in the detail.
Now, I want to know where this is. I want to go to this town. I don't have any idea where this was captured.
Yes. Björn,
so,
if you're watching, please let us know where this is, because it looks, it really looks like a, I don't know, something out of almost like a Hobbit or something. I'm not quite the Hobbit in desert land or something. So let us know, and if you're watching, this after we've gone live. And Mario is helping us out. He says this is Malta. Okay, that's interesting.
Malta, okay.
Not quite the Hobbit, but close.
I definitely I'll have to visit this place. Awesome. It's such a cool town and so well captured. So yeah.
He is watching.
Village. Yeah.
Ian is watching. Hello. It's so good to have you here. Thank you for enlightening us. Popeye Village in Malta. Fabulous. We'll go there one day. Okay. It is a movie set. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's a really neat looking place, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. So many things to learn.
And then Peter sent us this picture. And this is a little bit because we're getting closer in. Even though we can tell it's grass and we can tell it's dew or rain or water of some sort on the grass, it is a little bit more on the abstract side of things. Yes. Yeah, it's really well done, and you can see how the color shift of the cross-process recipe really brings out those greens and yellows.
Yes, yeah, very, very nice picture, Peter. Very nice indeed. Mm-hmm. We have another night scene that Philip submitted amongst many others. I just want to take a moment to, congratulate everyone on their stunning images and on the multiple images that most of you are submitting, which is fabulous. So we can pick and choose and feast our eyes on all the creations that you've made over the month. We have to choose one, otherwise the show would be, 3 or 4 hours long. But what we will be doing from now on, that the slideshow that we are publishing after the live event, we will add a few more of your images in so that everyone can share in more of the images that you submitted. So please don't hold back in submitting. And this is one of the Philip's images. It's, a night scene. It's showcases so well all the different colors and the color shifts that are happening. So I really enjoy this scene a lot. And
so what I want to know is what Philip ordered. Which of the famous 5 did he get at this place? That's
Yes, we hope it was good. And this image, I think, is so interesting, because there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and obviously the subject that's being photographed and the way it's being photographed all goes hand in hand. So this is really, really a cool image. Very, very moody, very contrasty.
It doesn't look like a digital image in any way, shape, or form. And I guess the vintage cameras also probably helped with that. I love the Brownie and the Polaroid
Yeah.
that you can see in there.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing.
Ricardo captured this, another night scene. I like this one. What's interesting is the movement. At night, a lot of times you have to use the slower shutter speeds, and the motorcycle passing through the scene may not even been going that fast, but you just get this blur. Even the person walking in the background on the left is a little bit blurred from his movement, and that's always fun when you can add that element of motion into the picture.
Yes, and I recommend that you, when you go back to the recording, obviously not now, but later you go and you pause on this image and you check out all the details. There is so much happening in this image and so much detail going on. I really enjoyed like really looking through all the different areas of the picture. So well done.
And Robert sent us this mushroom growing through the autumn leaves. That the leaves on the ground this time of the year is not uncommon, but finding this red mushroom just bursting out from it is really interesting.
Yeah, I love that also. It's like a scene out of some fairy tale. And I noticed also that there's a piece missing out of the mushroom. So I hope, Robert, that you did not eat it. I don't think this looks
maybe
like
a
a
little
mushroom.
mouse or something.
Down the rabbit hole. And yes, and then we have a submission by Sebastian, which is another absolute stunner. This very, very dark and moody image with this toy car that's popping out in beautiful yellow is a really nice piece that we totally love and could possibly make also maybe for a photo book cover or something. I really enjoyed it, caught my eye. There were a couple of others that he submitted, but this is definitely my favorite out of the lot. So thank you.
Yeah, and at first glance, it doesn't even look like a toy car.
Yes, correct. Yes, absolutely. And then we have a few more images. One of them is from Torsten. Torsten, I hope you're still around, sharing this cool everyday scene with us in very not so everyday colors. When we were having a first look at this image, we were discussing this Litfaßsäule that's in the background. You can't even translate that into English. It doesn't. Well, it's definitely not something that we come across here in South Africa. It's a pillar where posters are being plastered on an announcement, and I think it's amazing that in this day and age they are still around. They are still being used to in Germany to announce what's happening or advertising, or well, maybe not so much concerts at the moment, but whatever's happening around town. So that sparked quite a nice conversation between all of us, which I quite enjoyed. And just remembering this word is really fun. So for everyone who's watching who speaks German, I hope I impressed you with the fact that I still remember that word. So thank you, Torsten. It was really very entertaining and well captured. And then for our last submission of the evening, we have Warren, who brings up the rear as previously a scene from what I believe is New York City. A very cool scene. I absolutely love this, the way this is captured. Again, an image with a lot of detail, and it absolutely shines in cross-process.
Yeah, and it's just such great execution of the lines leading you from the bottom corners into the scene, and then incorporating that atrium or whatever that is going across between the buildings, and then providing an interesting subject to focus in on down at the bottom, the person on the bicycle, or I think it's a bicycle down there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah, and the mood in it could just as well be it's in some kind of a movie. So
Yeah.
that's really nice.
Well, thank you everybody for sharing your pictures, for sure. I really enjoy that segment of it, and glad that you were able to get your pictures shot and uploaded and everything, and I appreciate you sharing them.
Yes, thank you. The show wouldn't be the same without it. It would be absolutely nothing. So you are the heart of the show. So I hope that you embrace that and really take it forward with the next recipe that we're sharing and giving you the time to experiment with it, and reach out to us if you have any questions or comments, or if there's anything you want us to change, if there is a certain recipe that you really want to try out, or maybe you want to reach out to one of the other viewers and exchange comments, or if you have questions about an image that they've taken, please take the time. This is your platform to really go and do that, pick our brains, and and let's see where we get to. This is why we're here. If we have any comments, I think we do from the audience. There is Randy who says he loves the toy truck in all that darkness. Yes, it really pops out. Thank you, Randy. We, like we said also, this is a very striking image. So, Sebastian, very well captured. I hope you are here and you're watching and you can, take it in.
Yeah, it's a great use of like low key photography for sure.
Yeah. And I think the team is looking for another couple of comments that were made on the different images. So we just want to go back there. Aha! And there's Philip.
There you go.
He actually did order some food. Thank you for asking that question. And thank you, Philip, for playing along. He ordered a Portillo hot dog. I have no idea what that is.
I don't know, but I might just have to get a hot dog for lunch. I'm sure it won't be as good though.
Yes, well, it sounds phenomenal, and I hope you enjoyed it a lot. One day when I'm big, I may also have that. Randy says, I tried to use the glass to enhance the effect.
Yeah, the reflection in the glass. Yeah, it really worked. It was a great execution.
Yes, you did a fabulous job. You really did. And it's nice to see that, people are really creating, we're creating images. And this recipe, I think, called for a lot of that, because it's not so straightforward like some of the others. So well done again.
Yeah, I did catch the airplane. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, well done to you, Ritchie. And obviously well done to you, Kathy, for also catching the plane. This was nice. Have we got any other questions or comments in the audience? If not, maybe we can move on. Any more comments? No, I don't think so. Don't hold back. You're welcome to ask us any questions while we are well on our way into almost 2 hours, Ritchie.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, it's supposed to be a 45-minute show. We're about an hour over,
Yes, we are. But it's our bumper Christmas season special. So, you'll take in a double portion this month, and, to make up for what's not coming in January.
Yeah.
But while we are here, and while we are wrapping up cross process, we are jumping right into our next recipe. And now you can, sharpen your pencils, get out the app, star away the next recipe that's coming. It's Kodak Gold 200. I am super excited about this one. Well, I think I'm always super excited about all the recipes because it's so nice, and I absolutely love experimenting with all the different ones. And this one is, a special one for the special season. And we want you to, really dive in there and create lots of different images. We, always try to make sure that we give as many of you the opportunity to shoot with it. But obviously, some recipes, call for newer cameras. But this one is, for everyone in the community because it really is compatible with X Trans 3 and X Trans 4. So there should be, most, if not all of you, who should be able to dial this into your cameras and get some super awesome looks and experiment over the next little while with these kinds of looks that Ritchie and I have created so far. So should we have a peep at our sample images?
Sure.
Ritchie, you starting out with, winter is definitely upon you in every way. So there is an ice machine, I think you call it,
Zamboni, yeah.
That is being ridden by this big guy. So tell me what's happening here exactly.
So there's there's an outdoor ice skating rink that's just off the frame to the right. You kind of see it just a little bit in the background, and I guess it was tore up enough that they needed to bring the Zamboni out, and I just happened to be standing right in the right place when they were backing it out of the garage, and I was able to grab this picture, trying to use the lines in the roof to kind of lead down to the guy, but it was definitely in a way challenging because it's so dark on the left and so bright on the right. But the recipe did pretty good to keep it all together.
Yes. Yeah, a very interesting shot indeed. So that's a very good start.
Mm-hmm. And then you captured this. I assume takeaway is like a restaurant, is food, to go food. Is that? And I'm not sure if this is a place that's still in business or not. It kind of almost has it's barred up and closed. Maybe even in a neighborhood that maybe has a little bit of reputation for some crime or something, based on all the bars. They don't want anybody breaking in. But what kind of food do you think this place is? Have you already eaten there?
I most certainly have not eaten there. I don't think anyone is still eating there. I think it's pretty much closed down. Possibly a COVID forever closed kind of a scenario. So I don't know I've never been there before. I don't know it, but a lot of shops at the moment are unfortunately closing down. However, these burglar bars and doors don't necessarily mean that it's closed or high crime. That's just how most of our shop windows look, unfortunately. This is just, very, very South African, colorful kind of a street.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say is you got the blues, you got the greens, you got the yellows, even a little bit of red. And so you can kind of see how the recipe handles those different colors.
Yes. And on the other hand, we have a shiny downtown Salt Lake City, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there is so much going on in this image. I love it. It's so, first of all, obviously the angle is super interesting. And then all the reflections in the bottom left make it even more interesting. And then, any and every shade of blue, I think, is captured in this image. So I think it's very striking. Very nice. I hope you didn't get a stiff neck while taking it.
No, that's, and I think the light kind of draws you in. Maybe that's the first place you kind of look in the picture, but then you almost immediately look at that reflection in the bottom left.
Yeah, so very nice.
Then Spot the dog. He's very curious about that face on the right. You're giving a little sniff to try and discover what it is. obviously this is an indoor shot, and you get kind of an idea of what how the recipe handles an indoor condition. You know, a lot of the pictures that we're showing you are outdoors, but it's good to see it in different scenarios, and definitely good to see it used in an indoor situation.
Yes. Yeah, so this was a gift that we were given at Christmas lunch that we attended the other day. And, you know, I usually share images of my dog, so now in a different shape and form. So, yeah. And then there are more reflections and daytime pictures. Yeah, the recipe, it's really interesting because the recipe could almost be a different one. You could think, you know, sometimes I think I go back into my white balance and white balance shift settings because I'm like, did I, you know, maybe not set them up correctly or something, because it can look extremely varied. And I think it's really nice for everyone to experiment with this because you get so many different results, which is, you know, always kind of nice, a nice road to discovery. And this one, yeah, again, I love your reflections and you know, getting a glimpse of this street scene, again in Salt Lake City, I assume.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Yeah. So yeah, I just saw that moped there and tried to find an interesting way to capture it. Yeah, and what you brought up was an interesting point, because film can look very different depending on the lighting that it was shot in. So the recipes, a lot of them also kind of mimic that in a way. Maybe not 100% identical to how the film does, but it does. The lighting does make a difference in how it looks. And again, you have this indoor. Yeah, you have this indoor scene, and it's got very warm colors, and you got the Christmassy decorations and everything, and this is a good image to end on, because it is the holiday season, and we can share some of that holiday cheer and holiday hearts and that kind of stuff with the audience with this image.
Exactly. That's exactly what we want to do. Sharing lots of hearts and Christmas cheer, and we hope that, you know, you're getting ready to wind down. It's probably, well, by us it's still a bit crazy, but we're also hoping to wind down sometime soon and enjoy, you know, the holidays. Like we always say, make sure that you screenshot this here. It's the link to your uploads, and the QR code gets you in the same place. Make sure you don't miss that. You always have it handy, and whenever you're ready to share an image, just scan away and upload, because, you know, there's nothing like, you know, now is the moment to do that. So get at it straight away, because we've added a bit of a twist to our normal request. We thought, because you have hopefully a bit more time on your hands and maybe a few more opportunities to take some more pictures, we thought, let's ask you to upload 2 images, and we will have a look at them kind of like next to each other. So make these scenes that you create as different from another as possible. Maybe experiment with any kind of a portrait, and maybe a lifestyle or still life, and some, you know, festive scene, some family celebrations, some outdoor images wherever you are, so we can see, did it snow where you were? Did you have a white Christmas, or are you celebrating at the beach under the palm trees? So whatever it is that you can capture, just to, you know, keep it working, get experimenting, get really familiar with this recipe. You have 2 months for this one to play around with. So we really give you time to familiarize yourself a lot. And also, you know, the recipes that we shared throughout, the ones for the different portrait situations, really give them a go, and, you know, compare the two and share, you know, in the next, make some notes so that you don't forget. So in the next show, we can, you know, all share in it and hear what your findings were.
Yeah, what we really want to see is either 2 subjects that are really different from each other, or 2 lighting scenarios that are really different from each other, or both. You know, subjects and lighting situations that are vastly different. And so, yeah, try the recipe, try the Kodak Gold 200 recipe in a multitude of scenarios and a multitude of subjects, and pick two that are just really different from each other. And we'd love to see that.
Yes, absolutely. Because sharing is caring. Remember that. Yes, so I think we've had really awesome questions from you guys. We absolutely love the fact that you're starting to understand that we are here for you, and that we really appreciate you asking questions. I think everyone benefits from questions being asked, from comments being made. So this is really what we want you to embrace. And so if you have any more questions, fire away. If there are questions that we haven't answered, we will, try to go back in them and answer them that way. And there is another question here from Abdikani, who's asking what your favorite preset is for night photography.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the camera that you're using. X-Trans 2, for me, that's definitely the Cinestill 800T recipe. If you got I like for X-Trans, I don't know if it's compatible with X-Trans 3 off the top of my head, but XT3 and XT30, for sure, the Jeff Davenport night is a really good one.
Yes, we talked about it in the last, sorry.
And I just published a new recipe. Yeah, and I just published a new recipe that's great for night if you have an X-Trans 3 camera. So look for that. It's called, I think, Fuji Color NPL 160. I think that's what I called it. Hold on. Again, I got the app here, and I'll do newest to oldest. Yeah, Fuji Color NPL 160 tungsten is the name that I gave it. NPL 160 was a film that Fujifilm only produced for a very short time, and they only made it in like medium format. They didn't make it in 35 millimeter, but it's made for long exposures at night. And the film simulation recipe mimics that film. So give that a try for your night pictures if you have a compatible camera.
Lots of options to choose from. Fabulous. Thank you, Ritchie. Then Steve has another question. He's asking, will Fujifilm ever reintroduce a recipe app where it's possible just to Bluetooth the recipe to the camera rather than a manual input? That would be fabulous. Fujifilm, if you are listening, we would like that a lot.
Give me a call.
With us.
Contact me.
I hope you're making notes.
Yeah.
Martino is asking you, Ritchie, it would be really interesting if you upload a video showing your process to mimic a film. Many of us don't even have an idea about how to mimic a certain look, so that would be very useful.
Yeah, that's something I've wanted to do, is kind of walk through that. I get asked that a lot, so to walk through that process more. It's different. It's a little bit different for each recipe. So there's not just one method. But I'd like to definitely put out more videos. But videos is something that takes a lot of time, and so I hope to do it. I don't know how quickly or it'll come out, but that's on my to-do list for sure.
Fabulous. I'm looking forward to it. And then Stephen says he's got a random question. Is there any way in the app to search on comments?
There is not right now. I hope to add a search feature to it coming up. It's a little bit difficult to implement because it have third-party applications that you kind of have to rely on, or pretty extensive coding to make it all work. But and then having it be available offline versus having to have an internet connection and that kind of stuff. So it's on the to-do list to add a search feature to the app, but it seems like a simple thing, but it's actually a lot more complicated than it sounds. But hopefully that happens. Hopefully we get it sorted out.
Well, You won't get bored. There's lots of stuff that can be added. I'm sure you will make it happen sometime in the future. Another question from Martino. He's asking, what if in the FXW website you can create a section with photos of the community, allowing the Instagram so we can follow other Fujifilm users that also shoot straight out of camera, or a Facebook group with the monthly recipe?
Yeah, so
Good.
definitely something I want to get more into is and I talked a little bit about it earlier. It's just building a more of a community aspect to Fuji X Weekly, and I'm not 100% sure how to do that. The one issue of having like community photos on the page is then photo storage, and also it has to be moderated because you never know what somebody's gonna try and upload, unfortunately. But the closest thing right now is the Fuji X Weekly Communities recipe page, where people have shared recipes that they've created with their photos, and if they have an Instagram or a website, they've added that into it. So that's a good place to start, and that's the closest thing that there is right now. So go to FujiXweekly.com, look for the communities recipe page, and you'll find some of it there.
Yeah, I also wanted to, sorry, Randy, before we get to your question, I just wanted to quickly add in there that in the SOOC.live landing page that we have created, we will always have the recipe of the month in there. So for reference, you can go there. And then also, if you want to connect with others, you can always hashtag Fuji X Weekly or film recipe, or the hashtag for the recipe of the month, and that will in Instagram will pull up a lot of different people that use those recipes.
Yeah, Fuji X Weekly, hashtag Fuji X Weekly, hashtag Fuji X Weekly moment, hashtag Fuji X Weekly recipe, all those kind of. If you look up those, you'll find all sorts of different photographers that are using the film simulation recipes and stuff, and that you find a lot of great people to follow.
Yes, definitely. Hashtag is the way to go. So, Randy, to your question, another topic, you say, do you know how to use a flicker reduction in the Fujifilm camera menu? Not sure how this works or where to use.
Do you have a good answer for that? I think of the flicker reduction as more to do with the refresh rate of the screen, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? I'm trying to.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think as well. It's so on the one hand you have interference with lights if they have a different frequency. That doesn't necessarily show up in the image. It would be an issue if you shoot video, which is obviously not what we're covering here. But otherwise, I don't think I have a straight answer for that. We can, have another look at it offline. What I usually do if I end up, with that, and if it's really irritating, and if I have the option, then I change my shutter speed, and then I work around it that way. I don't know if that is a halfway satisfying answer for you at the moment, Randy, but an interesting question nonetheless. And then Stephen is asking if I add portrait outdoor sunny to Portra 400 V2, can I search for it? Okay.
Yeah, not currently. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
hopefully
is something.
someday.
Go ahead, Ritchie.
Oh yeah. Hopefully someday you'll be able to do that, but not currently.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have Jay who's asking, would it be possible for Fujifilm to include custom names in the EXIF data? Again, Hein, if you're watching, or if anyone from Fujifilm is hearing us, we would love that. We would absolutely love it. At the moment, that is not possible. Yeah.
Well, it's possible, but it has to be programmed in by Fujifilm. Yes. So hopefully they will do that.
Yes, hopefully. Did we talk about black and white? No, we didn't talk about black and white, maybe. That is
But that would
something
be
that.
a fun. Yeah, that'd be fun to do a black and white
Yes.
episode. So I hope we do at least a few of those.
Yes, we most certainly will. Mario's clearly experiencing some snow because he's asking for a recipe that would lend itself very well for that. That's a really good question.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I recently somebody shared with me some pictures where they used the Kodak Vision 3250D recipe in snow, and they turned out absolutely beautiful. So that might be a good one to try.
Okay, fabulous. So I will not be needing to try that, but everybody else who's watching somewhere where it's cold, put that in your back pocket and make your note in the app so that you pull it out whenever that might be useful. Okay, and Robbie is also tuning in. He's saying hello from Copenhagen. Thank you so much for tuning in. We shared one of his videos in one of the previous episodes. So go back and watch that if you haven't yet. I think it was episode 4, so 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
Yes. But I think it's time that we move on and see if we can, give someone an early Christmas present by making him a winner. Like we explained earlier, you stand a chance to win a 12-month subscription of the awesome Fuji X Weekly app. If you are new to this, you need to submit one of your images. If you've submitted at least one, your name will be in our lucky wheel that we will, bring up just now, and then you can, stand a chance. So I think we should go right ahead and do that real quick and spin the wheel and see if we can make someone of you a winner today. So, like I said, all the names on this wheel are of the people who submitted images, at least one image for this month's episode. So if you want to stand a chance to win the app, you need to submit your image and then maybe you will win. Should we spin that wheel, Ritchie?
Let's spin it. Let's see who the winner is.
Let's do it. Let's do it and let's see who is our winner for this evening. It's Torsten!
Yay!
Torsten, I hope you are still watching. And I hope that you don't have the app as yet. Please do get in touch with us. Let us know in the comments. Send us a message any which way you would like to, so that we can, get you hooked up. And
even if you are already subscribing to the app, let us know and definitely contact us. Contact me, contact Natalie. You can do it through Instagram, my website, YouTube, however works for you to contact one of us. Get in contact with one of us, and
yes.
we'll appreciate that, and look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, absolutely. Let us know. Regardless of what the situation is, we want to hear from you. So congratulations. I'm super happy to that we can make Torsten a winner this evening. So if you would like to stand a chance, don't hold back on those images, submit them. We would love to see what you come up with. And as you've seen, it's not a competition. It's not a crit in any which way. We just want to share with everyone what the different images can look like when you shoot in whatever recipe that we are shooting in the month. So here is a look at previous winners from the previous shows. There's Mario, who won last month, and we have the previous winners of the other shows as well. This is, again, something that we will add to our landing page to make sure that, if you haven't contacted us yet because you maybe have not been able to watch the live show, you can actually see what we've been up to in the previous shows.
If you're a previous winner and you haven't gotten in contact with us, then go ahead and do that too. So if you see your name on there, and you're like, well, I didn't realize I won, go ahead and reach out to us, please.
Yes, absolutely. Please do. So don't be shy and reach out, and, or if you know someone who's on this on this winner's roll, chat to us. We like to hear from you. We are friendly enough. We will definitely answer. And speaking of friendly and talking and getting the communication going between us, we have thought of something else which we want to launch in the new year. And I'm really excited about that. And we already have a number of ideas. And that is that we are extending an invitation for you to join us on our shows in future. So what we've been thinking is that when you submit your images and we look at them, we want to, communicate with you. So what we want to do is that you hop on the show, you volunteer to actually be live with us in the show, and you give us a bit more feedback of what your, experience was of shooting with the recipe and what you found, and maybe some challenges, and we can exchange ideas and connect with the rest of the audience, and you can give us a bit more insight into the images that you shot.
Yeah, so if you're interested in doing this and being a guest on our show for a segment, you can comment using the hashtag SOOC live guest, or you can just reach out to us in some way and let us know that you're interested in that, and then we'll figure out from there how to make it all work and get you on live with us.
Yes, and there's already Mario who thinks it's a great idea. Fabulous. So I take that as a yes from Mario. We will have Mario on the show in one of our future episodes, which is absolutely fabulous. I can't wait. And don't be shy. We, just love to connect with you. So we hope that we will get lots of hands up from everyone, and we can, meet you in person and, make this even hopefully more fun.
Yeah.
So there it is, the hashtag SOC live guest. You're more than welcome to comment with that or connect with us. There's more than one way to do so. If you're not quite sure, SOC.live is always a good starting point. There's contact details for Ritchie and I, and at the same time, obviously, all the socials that you're connected with us, you can shout out to us and we can have a chat about it and see what we can come up with. That is obviously for the new year, for the new season. And this was our last episode for this year. 2021 done and dusted.
Yep, the season 1 complete, in just a moment.
Yeah, just like that. Can you believe it, Ritchie?
Just like that. Six episodes in the book, and then the next one will be episode 1 of season 2.
Yes, it will be. So we are starting season 2 next year, and have thought of different ways of changing it up a little bit, of which featuring you is one of the first things that we want to introduce. If there are any suggestions that you have, if there's something that you want to change, then please let us know, and we are more than willing to give it a think and see, because at the end of the day, this is for you. Randy says, incredible pictures, thank you everyone, very inspiring. I'm happy that this is how it felt. Ritchie, I see a clock in the top left corner of the screen that I'm looking at, as it's counting me down or counting away the time while this show is going on, and we are way over 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Thank you all for sticking around for this long. This has definitely been a bumper show.
Yeah. And it's a lot to ask of you to watch us listen to us talk for 2 hours. And so I hope that it was entertaining for you, and I hope that it was educational for you, and you learned something or were inspired in some way and found value, because it's a lot to ask that much time of your time, when we value your time a lot. So hopefully this was a good episode for you, and thanks for putting up with the technical difficulties that we experienced there right in the middle. And Merry Christmas to Robert and to everybody out there, to Natalie, and or whatever holiday you're celebrating, may it be a really good one this year.
Yes. And speaking of holidays and the episode and the technical difficulties, I'm really sad that it was exactly at the point at the show where I wanted to show off this absolutely amazing new Instax camera. It's a cracker of a camera. I've had it for just a couple of hours. It arrived earlier today. And I really wanted to just share with all of you. My first impressions are absolutely amazing. This camera is mind-blowing. You need to get your hands on one. If you're in the photography space, you appreciate creating creative photographs. I've had so much fun with this camera already. This is the this selfie that I took earlier. So it's a little bit very bright because the light that illuminates me also illuminates this print. But I will share them in the next couple of days on my socials. There is loads of different films and things that you can change on the images. So it's a very creative process and it's so much fun. And I think it will make for a really awesome Christmas present. So if you're not quite sure yet what you want your loved ones to get you, have a look at the Instax Mini Evo. It's I'm really blown away. I think it's fabulous what Instax created there with this new camera. And I think especially in the space where we're looking at film and we're looking at creating different kinds of different kind of looking images, this is a really, really cool one to have. So I made a selfie with light leaks and I absolutely love it. Just this, before closing, I needed to get this in there because, thank you also to Instax and Fujifilm for, pulling out all the stops to get this camera to me, because it really literally has only been launched 3 weeks ago and is not even available all over in stores. It's coming now, hopefully still, before Christmas, wherever it is that you are. But, have a look out for this one if instant photography is anything that tickles your fancy. So thank you for humoring me for another couple of minutes. I needed to get this in. I needed to get this off my chest. I could not leave here today without sharing this with everyone.
Awesome. And so I guess the big reminder is that there is no January episode of SOOC. So the next one will be in February, the second Thursday of February. So you have extra time to shoot with the Kodak Gold 200 recipe and to use it in various situations and to share with us 2 pictures, 2 or more, of it in various situations. So we look forward to that.
Yes, absolutely. So only because we are not live in January doesn't mean that we won't, share stuff with you. We've started to share extra snippets that you can, look at that are coming from the show. So if you want to look back on stuff, please keep an eye out. There is more outtakes from the shows coming up. And, if you are watching this not live, you can now also go, we will add chapter markers, so it makes navigating a little bit easier. I think especially for this show, this will probably be a very good idea, that you don't need to sit through the entire 2.5 hours, but you can, take it in bite-sized chunks, as in how your time allows you to. I want to thank you, Ritchie, from the bottom of my heart for this amazing collab. I am having a blast. This is wonderful. Thank you for all the time that you're putting into this and for making yourself available and for, really embracing this. I think I'm not alone, but all the viewers out there are very grateful that you're here with us. And on this note, and, looking at your most phenomenal Christmas tree, I want to wish you also a very merry and peaceful festive season. I hope that you get to spend a lot of time with your family and do lots of Christmas stuff. And no doubt you will share many posts where we may get a bit of a glimpse into what you'll be up to over the holidays.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me as a guest and or co-host with this thing with me. It was actually, I don't know how many people realize in the audience that this was actually your idea, and you brought me along. It's been really great. Season 1's been great. I look forward to season 2. I think it'll be even better. And I just wanted to thank the whole audience for tuning in, for participating, sharing your pictures, asking your questions, and all that stuff. And so, it's just been really great. My heart pours out with appreciation to everybody, and I really do hope that you, Natalie, and everyone else has just a really great holiday season.
Phenomenal. I think it's time for a big group hug, a virtual one. Yes, we are. Yeah, it's the time for love and sharing and giving. So this is the perfect ending. Thank you, everyone. Once again, have yourselves a fabulous Christmas. We will be ending with the slide to just remind you of the date again. We will be back on the 10th of February. And I think it's time to say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, Ritchie. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight again. It means the world to us. Have a great rest of your day, evening, good night, and we will see you in 2022.
Wow.